Sadly, I don't know if Max will be there. So,
no, I don't know if Max travels well. You know,
Traveling Max, wasn't that Fraggle Rock?
That was Uncle Traveling Matt.
Oh, Matt. I thought it was Max.
I learned recently, and I say recently, whenever the hell it was. The human interstitials with Sprocket and the man?
Yeah.
Whatever the man's name was.
Yep.
For different countries, like he owned like a hardware store, whatever the hell it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those interstitials there with Uncle Traveling Matt going up into the real world, they were different for every country. Like, one it's like a pizza shop, and one it's like a windmill, and one it's a this, and one it's a that, and it was a different actor, and those scenes were always in whatever that native language was.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I never knew that. I don't think those are on the DVDs neither.
Right, because they're probably just straight up, the American version.
Yeah, because I have the DVDs of those,
That's the one of all the Muppet stuff, that's the one I know the least of, because for most of my life, I never had the HBO.
Right, we've talked about that.
Yeah, so I've seen it, like I'd see it at people's house, and it would crack me up, and I'd like it, but I never sat down, and I probably never seen them all, to tell you the truth, But
it's good. It's really good.
Oh, everything I saw, I loved,
Yeah. I'm trying to think what of the Jim Henson Muppety things I have the least familiarity with.
Right.
Wasn't there a show called Storytellers or something?
Yeah, there was Jim Henson's Storytellers, but I think that was more of like an Amazing Stories kind of a deal, I if I remember correctly, that was just like the Crypt Keeper would be the Muppet type stuff, and then the story would happen.
Yeah.
That's one of them that I'm not as familiar with either. All right, maybe the Muppets when they were on Saturday Night Live for that one season?
Saturday Night Live?
Yeah, they weren't the Muppets, like the Muppets
Okay. Where, like, they weren't, like, okay, I get, like, this is maybe, like, 75, 76?
Yep, they were just, like, indistinguishable monsters and stuff.
Yeah, this was pre-Sesame Street, even.
I don't know if it was pre-Sesame Street. It's probably definitely pre-Muppet Show.
And they would just do, like, short little skits, and I think there's even, like, there was an original draft of the Muppet Show that was, like, a little bit more raunchy or a little bit more racy.
Yes, there was. I forget. There was, like, 2 of them, and then there was a Muppet Show pilot that didn't air. They retooled it, but there was, like...
shit, and it was called Sex and Violence or something.
Yes!
Okay.
Yes, I was going to cover that when I do my Muppet podcast.
Aren't you... Remember when you were supposed to do a Muppet podcast?
Yep, I was supposed... But the problem was I couldn't figure out how I wanted to do if I wanted a regular guest, a rotating guest, or a regular co-host, and then rotating people coming in. It was all overwhelming, but I was going to do it either in chronological order of the things that they did, or I was going to, like, rotate. It would be like, all right, here's the Muppet Show, the first Muppet Show episode. And then I would go on to, here's the first episode of the new Muppet Show. And you know what I mean? And do one of each era and bring it back around. But I never really decided, and I don't know. I need an editor, and where can you find one of those?
I was going to say, I saw you maybe floating out looking, casting a net on social media for a co-host, though, recently. So
yeah, well, Futurama. I was going to do a Futurama rewatch.
Oh, the Futurama one, too. Right,
yep.
Right.
And then me and Adam were going to do a Doctor Who one.
Mm-hmm.
But then who am I? You at that point with 17 podcasts? 3. But then, like, doing other podcasts, so...
Well, you got to promote the 3 you have, you know?
Oh, okay. See, I didn't get that memo. I don't know what to do. I'll go on to Kiss My Music or whatever it is.
Right, Kiss My Music.
Where Shuzi talks about Kiss all the time.
The songs of Kiss.
Yes, which there are only 4 Kiss songs acceptable. Lick It Up.
Here we go.
Heaven's on Fire, Let's Put the X in Sex, and You Make Me Rock Hard. Those are the only 4 Kiss songs.
Rock Hard, Juice Robinson?
I don't know about that, but the only good Kiss is Makeupless Kiss.
No, okay, now, let's... I may have talked over in the, what was the first song that you said?
I don't remember, so I'm going to put the Let You Make Me Rock Hard as the last one. It's Lick It Up,
Lick It
Heaven's
Up,
on
I missed
Fire,
saying.
and Let's Put the X in Sex. And by the way, all great videos, by the way.
Yeah, I am a makeupless Kiss apologist.
Yep.
I'm not an understander, but I'm definitely an apologist.
Mm-hmm.
I understand why they did it, and then I also understand why they put the makeup back on.
I say this. Gene Simmons saw Alice Cooper succeeded with makeup on, so he figured we could be 4 times successful with 4 people with makeup on. So, but so like, you know, they have their disco phase and they have their this phase, mm-hmm.
and then they come back in like the late 90s when they had like the McFarlane figures.
Yes,
right. That's kind of sort of when I'm like, okay, pretty much after anything that they did that was technically new after they did the MTV Unplugged,
mm-hmm.
you could keep it. I don't need it.
Okay.
That could have been their swan song, right?
Yeah.
But I'm a sucker for your Black Diamonds. I'm a sucker for War Machine. I unapologetically and unironically love the Beth.
Beth. I used to listen to that all the time on what was this on 98.5 on Saturday night? The oldies.
King Biscuit Flower Hour?
Yeah, that was it. But yeah, I was a Beth guy.
You know, Alice Cooper does like the syndicated
radio show,
like the weekly, like daily radio show.
Right. It's on Rock 107 around here. I listen to it occasionally.
Yeah.
He replaced Dee Snider.
I was about to say it was Dee Snider's old bit, you know?
Yep. Though I'm not a makeup Kiss guy. I'm not a fan of their old stuff, blah blah blah, as we talk. But I am. I saw Makeupless Kiss open for Ozzy Osbourne in Allentown.
Really?
Which blows my mind to see Kiss after the makeup, like regardless, like that's the band that should be opening, like, you know, arenas.
Yeah.
And they opened for Ozzy, and they didn't like give him the whole stage because Ozzy needed the whole stage, and they had that set up already.
Yeah.
So it was like, you know, curtains over whatever like stage dressing he had. It was like I saw Kiss play a quarter of the stage in Allentown.
Now this was in between their, you know, in between like, so they do Kiss. Have you ever seen Kiss Meets Phantom of the Park?
Yes, I had a couple of friends growing up she was a huge Kiss fan, and she made me watch Kiss Meets the, like they had a dubbed copy from somewhere of Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park, so I did see that.
You mean you got the privilege of watching Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park?
Yeah, I didn't have to. I got to.
Right. So they do Kiss Meets Phantom of the Park. They do their disco record. And then from the time they do their disco record till the time they take their makeup off, like they were playing Kingston Armory.
Right.
Like that's how low they were for a while, you know?
Right. Like Allentown was a fairground when I saw them.
Right.
So, but
that would have been like, what, 85, 86 maybe?
Yeah, because I graduated in 91. Mm-hmm. So I want to say like somewhere between 85, 88. I couldn't pin it down because I went with my brother and my brother's friends and a couple of my friends. So it could have been anywhere in there, you know?
I'm trying to like see where Ozzy was on the come up,
mm-hmm.
and Kiss was like they had to come up when they took the makeup off, mm-hmm. and then they had to come down when they took the makeup off, you know?
Right, because one of my ideas was like all the failed Patreon ideas that we have
mm-hmm.
was I wanted to do especially the Kiss videos from the Makeupless era.
Okay,
like watch them and discuss them, but like all good, like any cheesy video, like because to this day my 2 favorite videos of all time are Warrant's Cherry Pie for some reason, don't know why, maybe it's the song. And the other one is Chicago's Stay the Night.
Now, Chicago Stay the Night isn't hitting me.
That's the one where he's the like mechanic in the garage, and the girl takes the car, and he's like so in love with her, he stalks him and he chases her, and he's like hanging on the car, singing to her like "Stay the night." And in the end, he ends up like in the back of a pickup truck. Two guys stop and help him, assault the lady. It's ridiculous.
Now it's just that there was like so many things. There's a car, there's a lady, there's a mechanic. Everyone from like Billy Joel to everyone in between, did those sort of things, right?
What was the I'm on Fire by Bruce Springsteen did the same one too.
Yeah. So if I had to pick, okay, and this is a wide net, I was always a fan of Twisted Sister, We're Not Going to Take It. Coming back to Dee Snider.
Pledge pin.
Right. On your uniform. But another great one, underrated, I would say, is Round and Round by Rat.
Is that the one with Uncle Milty?
That's the one with the lead singer Steve Piercy's uncle, Uncle Milty.
Right. Yeah.
He said, "Hey, I need to get some cachet with the kids of today with my rock and roll metal album. Do I know anyone famous? Oh, my uncle is Milton Berle." And then Milton Berle does like multiple roles in the thing, right?
Right. He was in the video just enough for them to win.
Right. Oh, my goodness. And again, just as a side note, even though it's only a cameo, Lionel Richie's Dancing on the Ceiling.
Right.
Where Rodney comes in at the end. I remember on MTV, they did a bit where, so you get the world premiere of Lionel Richie's Dancing on the Ceiling, right? Then afterwards, they had the half-hour making of Dancing on the Ceiling video.
Right.
And then over the credits, they did a whole bunch of Rodney outtakes.
What was the video with Lionel Richie with the blind girl doing the sculpture? Hello. Where he was mad about the sculpture didn't look anything like him?
I don't remember that.
But they said somewhere it was like because I used to love pop-up video.
Yeah.
And they were like, Lionel Richie's like, it doesn't look a lot like me. It's like, can't you get the bust to look more like me? And they're like, Lionel, she's blind. She's doing her, like, it's not supposed to look exactly like you.
Another side note is, Separate Ways by Journey is a good one. Because there's so many loving mash shots of maybe the ugliest band of all time.
I love when they that's part of the love of the Makeupless Kiss with other than
Wait a minute. Are you insinuating that without their makeup on, Kiss looked like hideous gargoyles?
Well, the two guys that aren't Peter Criss and Ace Frehley.
Okay.
Because Gene and Paul are sculpted from marble.
That's right. But I'm down with doing a Patreon show next year. We could put it on the list, right? I'm putting it on the list right now.
Oh, we have so many on the list already. I'm always coming up with
we have our listeners vote. That's how this works. This is a democracy, this show, right? At least the Patreon is, right?
Right.
Now that's next year's Have Issues. Where the hell? I have it somewhere.
You'll find it.
All right, we're gonna put the shitty 80 videos on for next year for people to vote on, right? But then we got to do a thing where we're gonna watch like 10 videos or whatever the hell it is, right?
Right. I mean, we could always do a journalism on the videos and find the pop-up videos of them if we can.
Right.
I mean, we'll figure something out. I don't know.
It's an idea. We don't have to worry about it for like another 11 months.
Right. That's next year's Patreon's problem, not this year's Patreon problem.
This year's Patreon has enough problems the way it is,
Oh my God! Don't get me started.
Uh-oh.
No.
So everything else is okay? Everything else good?
Yep. The only other thing that I just want to say is I watched the first 2 episodes of the new Night Court.
Okay.
And I haven't watched the newest episode. As we record tonight's the new episodes, I think. The first 2 episodes were uneventful until the last half of the second episode because it's one big story. They actually ran it, both of them on the same night. And by the time you get to the end of the second episode, the Night Court zaniness starts to show up. I will say this, John Larroquette is still a master of comedic timing.
Okay.
But they've neutered him, and he's no longer a pervert. He's still very funny.
Did they literally neuter him so that he's no longer a pervert?
Yes, they literally neutered. No, basically it starts out he's what's the word I'm looking for? It's years later, and he's been married, and something happened to his wife. He lost his wife, and he says like that he loved her, and he's lost more than you'll ever know, and he's really like not that, which is never gonna fly today. That Dan Fielding, but he's still like a curmudgeon and hates people, which that part I can get behind, and I'm not down on the rest of the characters yet. I'm like, all right, we got to feel these characters out. But there's one or two gags, like I said, that come later that I'm like, that's straight out of Night Court.
And what UHF station is this on?
This is on NBC, so it should be on the cock.
Oh, let me look.
NBC, it's like, free TV. You could probably stream it.
Well, I do have the cock. Let me check this cock out real quick.
Right, so, but,
I've defaulted to World Wrestling Entertainment, excuse me.
Oh, no. You brought it up, not me.
I did.
But I'm waiting for it to see if any of the other characters that are still alive show up or not.
It says new episodes every Wednesday.
Oh, okay, then it's tomorrow as we're
recording. And the first 2 episodes are up.
Yeah, they were up. They were up on the same day, so.
Okay.
And they reran them. I'll give them credit. They reran them over the weekend after the NBC playoff game on Saturday or Sunday night. Mm-hmm. They're like, here's an encore presentation of Night Court. We really believe in this, they said. Or it was implied.
Cool. Again, this could be hitting the nostalgia button that people needed to hit, That's the one thing. It is very straightforward, like a sitcom, like Night Court. Has the laugh track and everything. But we'll see. I'm gonna keep going, man. I have a love for Night Court. That might be my next podcast after the 7 I already have. Right. Is a Night Court rewatch. Is there a food that begins with night?
I don't know. Or court?
Right. I know the Wings on Wings crew have tossed around nachos with Night Court or something.
Right. I was just talking to DJ today, and he said chips and dips.
Yes.
That was one.
Right.
I wanted to do Sour Mash on MASH.
Yes.
Where we just get drunk and watch MASH episodes.
Well, you couldn't do a drunken one, but it would be you, Doug, and Mantis would be the hosts of those. The 3 biggest MASH aficionados that I know.
I would be down with that. We could get some vegan pizza and go to town.
Right. That's next. They have to finish Wings first. I think they have like one more season left to go. So
he said how many? He has like 50 some episodes. I think we did the math today. We did the math today. Yeah. So then he's retiring. He said.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he said he's retiring. So we'll see. Maybe I'll have to take up the mantle.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a Night Court podcast out there.
There should be one, and I may have to lead that charge. Joe, you want to do a 3rd podcast, 4th podcast?
Do I want to? No.
But
would I? Maybe.
For Night Court, you might.
I'm looking here. There's one. So if you're just on YouTube, you don't count.
Mm-hmm.
So there is one here that's called Have a Good Night Court.
Ugh.
But they haven't done an episode in 5 years.
Okay. They should have their license revoked.
I think once you're a year, you get your license revoked.
They should strip you of your iTunes privileges.
Right. There's another one here where it's some sort of YouTube thing, but like I said, I don't know if they have like an actual real thing, but they do like it's a messy there's like, oh, here's a Night Court podcast, and then here's us going down to they're co-opting all your shit, Todd. It's like, oh, we're gonna go down to the bagel shop, you know. Then we have like pumpkin spice things, you know.
Jesus Christ!
Right. We're gonna take you to the new cannabis museum in Athens, Georgia. Right.
That's not so much me, but
right. So it's not really a podcast. It's just part of their YouTube's channel, right? But yeah, this one here, like I said, they haven't done an episode in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think I want to do a Night Court podcast where I rewatch Nightcast with hookers, and we could call it Night Courtesans. That's the show, Joe.
All right.
I just got to find me some hookers.
That might take a while, but okay. Yeah, so I think that's an untapped market, Todd.
Yes, I do think so.
So after you do your Muppets podcast, your Futurama podcast,
Doctor Who podcast,
and your MASH podcast, you can hop right on that Night Court podcast.
That's right. And by then, the new show might be over.
So I'll say this, okay? Hear me out. This is going to start a new trend. Now, Todd, I know you're a big podcast guy.
Sure.
And there's the trend out there of people who do like the minute-by-minute podcast, right?
Right.
David Kincannon, Jason Kirk, they did the Willy Wonka movie minute by minute, right?
Right.
I say you wait to do this podcast if and when the new Night Court stops. I don't want to say gets canceled. Let's just say stops, right?
Mm-hmm.
And start your podcast from the last episode of the new show and work your way backwards.
Okay.
Like, start with the last episode of the new one, work all the way up to the first episode of the new one, and then when you're with the first episode of the new one, start with the last episode of the original Night Court and go back to the beginning.
To the pilot of the first.
To the pilot, right. Okay. I don't think anyone's ever done an episodic version of a TV show in reverse order.
No, I don't think they have.
Right, and with good cause, but I'm just throwing it out there.
It's all good ideas.
Listen, not all ideas are good ideas. Some of them are just ideas, right?
That's true.
Yeah. All right. Anything else before we put a bow on this one? It's a little late, but that's okay. People
no, I got nothing else.
All right, good. Hey, thanks everyone for listening. This was Longbox Heroes After Dark, episode 428. Amazon click-throughs fixed. Hey, the Amazon click-throughs fixed.
Yep, I saw you tweeting that out.
It wasn't broken, but every day that I went in for the last 2 weeks and that big giant red box was there taunting me, it was just like agita, right?
Right.
So make all your purchases through our Amazon affiliate link. I don't know. There's some sort of deal where you buy Valentine's Day shit and we get like an extra kickback. I don't know. Buy Valentine's Day stuff. Valentine's Day is like 3 weeks away. Buy your sweetie Fudgy the Whale through our Amazon click-through, right?
Yep.
Oh, that's a good... You know what? Let me check. Can you get a Fudgy the Whale on Amazon?
I hope you can. Could you get a Cookie Puss? Then I'm down with that. Dear Amazon.
Sadly, you cannot get a Fudgy the Whale on Amazon, so it's a list of things. Cookie Puss. Let's see if you can get Cookie Puss.
Cookie Puss. Cookie Opus.
I was going to say, we could be getting Cookie Opus here soon.
That's right.
That's right. No Cookie Puss neither, right?
Oh, well.
Well, listen, I'm sure that you can go... I don't know. Anyway. So Amazon click-through. TeePublic sale is this week. And sign up for the Patreon. $1 a month. Get you the 2 bonus shows, get you the previews catalogs. I was pushing that hard on all my podcast appearances. Not that Adam will listen. He'll never know. Mm-hmm. And $5 will get you the shows early and get you the show early. So you can listen to these in the correct listening order, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, everyone. Thank you again. And we will see you all here next week.
You're listening to the soon-to-be-named network, the Lamborghini of podcast networks.